You're looking fly when you go to the grocery store. Like when you go
Oh
out.
yeah, you ain't finna catch me slipping. No. Mm-mm.
We feel honored to get any time with you, but as we're recording, your new album dropped this morning.
It just dropped. I mean, it's surreal. Like I got four of those things out right now.
Yeah. I'm always down to pour a cocktail in the Gear Lab. There's always a reason to celebrate, but this particularly feels like a reason to celebrate.
No, yeah, it's totally a celebratory
And I know you're
moment.
a tequila fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously Texas. Born and raised, Texas tequila brand.
Hey.
Don Julio fan.
Yeah.
Don Julio grandson.
Oh, there we go.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Congrats on the album
Thank
launch.
you. Appreciate you, bro.
I've personally been a big fan, and I've been listening to the album nonstop. I love it. And between listening to it and obviously doing my research, reading the reviews, talking to your crew, the sort of inspiration coming back home and talking about like the place and Texas, born and raised, Fort Worth. Can you tell me a little bit about how that's sort of interpreted in this album?
You know, it's something that we all desire. You know, it's just like feeling kind of the weight of this journey, you know, just kind of desiring or getting back to like that simplicity. And, you know, I wanted to really display, you know, just like the version of myself when I'm back home in Fort Worth. Leon, not in the lights, you know, and around people that just love me for who I am. You know, it's a lot of my, you know, it's my stories, but it's also about the people who shape me.
Through the songs, through the lyrics, even through the titles, like you can very quickly feel and see that. And like the song like Panther City, like I didn't have those exact references, but I just felt nostalgia for where I grew up and all the things that you're talking about in the
That's
song.
super cool.
I did love the N64 reference. That's when I knew I'm getting old, when N64.
I mean, what was your go-to? I mean, mine was GoldenEye.
Mine was GoldenEye. I was gonna ask. That was gonna be my question. GoldenEye, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball.
Oh, wow.
Remember the Ken Griffey Jr.?
Man, I didn't really get into the sports.
I didn't either, but that one, I more liked talking about style. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up in New England, so like baseball to me was the Red Sox, anything Boston. But Ken Griffey Jr. had a style that is still unmatched, particularly in baseball. Like he had a shoe that you actually wanted to wear, even though it was a cleat, you know.
Right.
But mine was GoldenEye is the definitive. It's the best.
Yeah, I really love that song. You know, it's about like the summers I would spend with my father, and you know, just that area. You know, Southside Fort Worth, and like in the '90s, it was like a really rough place to live in, and you know, I wanted to paint just kind of the aspects of that place. You know, of just like the beautiful aspects of it. You know, kind of in the midst of all the chaos during the time.
One of the first singles that came out that I've been listening to on repeat, it's become kind of paint my picture and like how music resonates with the audience. Peaceful Place. I think the song itself is amazing. Like the drums coming in, the vibe, but then obviously like the message around it, like for me personally really resonates. And working in a fast-paced world, being on computers all day, traveling a lot, and just this like mental idea of Peaceful Place, but then also like for me, pouring a tequila after I got a 4 and a 2-year-old, like I put that song on, pour tequila, like put the lights on dim, put that song on and just like lay in the couch and just let my mind like decompress. Love to hear a little bit more about that idea of like Peaceful Place, both from like a mentality standpoint, but then also when you think about like the physical things and routines and places when you're back home that sort of bring you there.
I love my city. I love Fort Worth. You know, a lot of artists when they transition into the fame thing, you know, normally leave their cities, you know, and I think it's cool that, you know, I'm still living there, you know, and I mean, these days, like, I rarely get to spend time home. My schedule is like really sporadic. So it's just kind of finding that peaceful environment everywhere I go. And for me, it's been really awesome to bring some of my best friends with me on the road, you know, and that's just like always my connection to home. Yeah, home is physical, but, you know, it's also a state of mind, you know, and, you know, I try to find that. I think like the older we get, like, you know, just like the reality of like, you know, just of how life is just so fragile becomes a thing, you know, and this album is just like focusing on the things that are just that are meaningful, and for me it all boils down to home and family.
Yeah. You are always traveling. You're always on the road. You're about to go into a big tour.
Yeah.
Are the things that you do on your off days or before a show that sort of like intentionally forces you to kind of disconnect and try to find that like calm before the storm, if you will?
My whole thing is like when I'm on a tour, I try to find some simple shit, but I try to find like a rad coffee shop or breakfast spot, and some dope vintage in the cities that I'm in, and sometimes that's like really hard to do because as soon as I touch down in the city, it's like
Boom, boom, boom.
running around doing a million things,
Yeah,
but I definitely value those those little moments.
Yeah. Another sort of city that I know has been important to you, especially recently, you recorded this album in Mexico City, or at least part of it.
Totally.
Had you spent a lot of time in Mexico City before?
I've been to Tulum. Well, not direct Mexico City, but I only went to Tulum prior to that.
What was Mexico City like?
It was dope. We were kind of like an hour outside of Mexico City. Like we were in this like area called Desert of the Lions, and I was working on the album for almost 5 years and kind of got burnt out on Los Angeles and Nashville, and so me and the team just kind of needed a getaway, and just felt like Mexico City was a spot, and it was just nice to be disconnected from all the distractions.
Yeah. It's such a cool town. And speaking of a love for tequila and mezcal, not a bad place.
Man,
I'd love to talk a little bit about, we were just kind of riffing, going through some product out here. You have such a distinct, like, there aren't trends that you're following. Like, Leon is a style,
Yeah.
right? And it's obviously like a passion of yours and vintage. And I know you spent a week at your first fashion week, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Like, obviously commonalities between music and fashion and style, like those things have been intertwined, influencing one another since both began.
Totally.
Like, like, how do you think about your inspiration creative as it relates to style? Like, what inspires you?
Just putting on dope clothes. It's just another aspect of just like the creative expression. With my art, I like being set apart, and I think being from Texas really makes my art unique, and I really try to embody those aspects that are unique to Texas. I would kind of define my style as kind of retro, futuristic, kind of minimal 70s vibes, and for me it's all about the Canadian tuxedo, a good a good belt buckle, good cool belts, cowboy boots, cowboy hat,
Yeah.
call it.
How do you, I was listening to an interview, I think with the Throw On Fits guys, and I loved your note of like, you're looking fly when you go to the grocery store. Like when you go out.
Oh yeah, you ain't finna catch me slipping. No.
Yeah, and it's certainly, again, I am not comparing my style to yours, but I certainly get, my wife's like, why are you thinking about what you're wearing out to the park with the kids? I'm like, it's not that I care about what other people are thinking. Like in the end, something we talk a lot about is like, style is like how you feel, right? And if you dig it, it's your style.
Absolutely.
Like it is a confidence, right?
Absolutely.
Like today, I'm like, what? I did think a lot about what I was gonna wear. Chatting with you.
I mean, you killed it though.
But I was like, you know what? Like I just bought this new 316, and I know you've got some 316, one of my favorite brands.
Bros, yeah.
I was like, I just bought it. I'm like, this is a perfect excuse to wear it.
Man.
And it was like more like like I put it on. I'm like, yeah, this is a shirt for today.
Man.
And just that mentality in any situation. Doesn't mean you're not peacocking showing off, but it's like, what makes you feel good? Do it.
Yeah, it's gotta be for you. I love being, just for my mental, I'm like, I love just being consistent, and like it doesn't matter like where I'm at, it's just like, I mean, there's different versions of of my aesthetic, but like I feel like it's always on point.
Yeah. Is there a question we always ask ourselves? And it's kind of the cliche prompt, like your house is burning down. Like, what's the one thing that you're buying? Is there like a piece of clothing that just has a lot of meaning, history, that if it was the one thing you had to grab, what it would be?
Damn, yeah. What would that be for me?
It's a tough question. I mean, I have a hard time answering. I can't imagine
Yeah.
with your.
What's your go-to?
My go-to would be, and I don't wear it that much anymore, but we were talking a little bit about like the story and the meaning behind it. I have this like 1970s vintage LL Bean flannel that's like
That's cool.
beat to shit. And it looks cool when you wear it, but I'm afraid to wear it a lot because it's going to fall apart. I should get it like patched up, but it's more like that idea of like home for me. Like I grew up in small town in Maine, right? And I love like the old school vintage LL Beans. So it's like sitting, I know exactly where I got a really messy closet, got a lot of cool stuff that we're fortunate to try out all the time. I know exactly, like I can't find most things. I know exactly where that flannel is. And it's just one of those, like I look at it, even if I'm not wearing it a lot, and it just very quickly reminds me of where I'm from.
Yeah.
And it's like a cool style.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think for myself, like I'd probably grab this trench coat that my grandfather used to wear, and he passed it down to my mom, and she gave it to me. I probably would grab that, but I'd be devastated if if my whole closet burned down.
It's just some years doing work to get it to that point. Do you get a chance, like with your schedule, to shop, for lack of a better term? Like, do you like, you mentioned like finding a cool vintage shop.
Yeah, I try to mix it like the vintage, with the modern, and when I'm on the road, I try to find like a rad vintage spot in the cities that I go to, but also like I shout out to my good friend Gabrielle Tenna. That's my stylist, like, and she puts me on to like modern brands.
You do such a good job of blending the new and the old, for lack of a better term, and that Bodie suit that you wore.
Oh,
the Bodie's now like one of the hottest brands, rightfully so, in the
Yo,
world.
I
But
mean,
that was like
somebody
2015 or
like,
something.
I mean, I think I was the first to wear it
Yeah.
at the Grammys.
Yeah.
Not Childish Gambino. He was actually first, and then I rocked it, and then I think Harry Styles. No,
You were in there early.
yeah. Each piece, from the past, it tells a story. And I had this one like blazer, and I can't fit it anymore, but it belonged to like this like preacher from Compton, like in the 50s, and that was like, I couldn't take the thing off.
Speaking of style and albums, connecting the dots in Texas, again, the celebration of Texas here in Austin, playing ACL, new album. I like to shop for people.
That's it.
So this is a special edition. Didn't go like full-fledged shopping because there was a lot of pressure with your style, and I know you got a pretty stacked closet, but got a couple special gifts, if you will, that we wanted to present to you.
That's cool.
Celebrating not only you being here, but this idea of Texas, the new album.
It's over.
So I'm going to start with one.
Okay.
I got it here.
Okay.
We obviously got the new album.
Whoa.
Leon. Also, as I mentioned, like Peaceful Place being a song that resonated with me and a lot of us. This is our Moleskin Western that we created.
What?
And we actually, shout out to Grace Wells. One of our employees is an incredible chain stitcher. So not only is this our product, but our own employee chain stitched this. So obviously a little throwback to like a name tag, but that's also the name of the album, Chain Stitch. And then we got a Peaceful Place, a little artwork on the back.
That is the coolest shit.
So one of one for you in celebration of
Are you serious?
the new album launch. Oh yeah. I mean, thank you for being here. So
I'm not taking this off.
Texas, synonymous with great boots, great heritage, great history. I'm fortunate to work with the oldest boot manufacturer in all of Texas, 1853.
Whoa.
Started making boots down in El Paso. These are one of like 50 or so, maybe 75 that we are making in the world. So these aren't just the props. We were hiding them up on the wall.
What?
But made in Texas, El Paso. You can see the little made in Texas tag inside. I think these are your size. Your team gave us.
That is fire. What the fuck?
Rios of Mercedes is the boot maker. So they've been making shit for a long time. Obviously, you got the custom stitching. It's a nice, like, waxy. We've got a pair that someone's been wearing for the last month. This is only the second pair that's actually out in the world right now. But you can imagine, you got a bunch of amazing boots. This wax just wears. It looks so cool the more that you beat it up. Wanted to send you off your first trip to Huckberry.
Love,
celebration of Texas. Celebration
Yo.
of a new album. So hope you dig them.
Yo, these are beautiful, man. I mean, that's right in, you know, my color palette. You know, I do the earth tones, you know.
Well, really appreciate you being in here. I know you got not only a busy stretch, but you are literally heading to ACL Festival from here, I think.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for
congrats
having me.
again on the album. And
thank you.
We've been looking forward to catching up with you for a long time. So,
man, love. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And
everyone, album's out. Leon.
Oh yeah,
we gotta give it
thing. Check it out, Leon.
Check it, Leon.
You know what I'm saying?
Available now. Well, by the time this goes live, it's definitely available. But this is the launch date.
Let's go.
It is, and I'm not saying this. These guys can attest. The album's incredible. I'm not saying that because you're sitting here. It is so good.
Thank you.
So excited for other people to check it out.
Yeah, it's healing, you know, and I think you know, I hope it inspires everybody to really focus on what's important and, you know, and most meaningful, you know, in this life.
Well, cheers, Leon.
Cheers, bro.
There we go.
Yes, indeed.
To Texas.
Yeah, I know. I already know.